What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. My name's Tyler. Going to be going through another great game of Age of Empires with you today. This is between Nab's MBL40C, playing as Huns, and Batchiofro, or Tyrant Bact. This is an interesting game. Very aggressive scout play from both players, and very aggressive play overall. It's not very long, so we will cover it pretty shortly. As usual, I guess we should start off by showing you the maps. We can see M here in gray has forward stone. He has berries to the side, gold in the back. All in all, not a terrible setup. It looks like he can safely take wood and gold if he just builds a couple of walls. Meanwhile, Bact on the other side of the map has forward berries, forward gold, stone to the side, stone to this side as well. So not as good of a map for Bact. I've been watching a lot of MBL40C or M's games lately. Really impressed with this player. You know, he's playing a lot and he's playing at a really high level. So I think we should keep an eye on him. I want to keep streaming some of his games. He really is a little bit unpredictable, a little bit interesting, and just a really determined player. So keep up the good work, my friend. We'll fast forward for a moment now that we've seen the maps. And we'll just look at what these guys are planning to do. So a lumber camp going up here for M. I usually like to watch to see how many villagers go onto wood. He's got 3 now. The 4th will also go onto wood. So we might see a drush from M. Meanwhile, Bact on the other side of the map has 3 on wood, so we won't be seeing a drush from him. Nabs does this a lot, the 4 villagers on wood without drushing. So it's hard to say. With his particular style, he might not be going forward with a drush. Meanwhile, you can see that he's scouted quite a bit of his map. He can see where his stone is, his main gold, and his berries. And he looks like he's peeling the layers of the onion away here, getting a little bit more information of his map, and he'll probably go forward very shortly. You can see him here luring in the boar. And what we should do, since it's at 4 minutes, we should look from Bact's point of view. Why should we look from Bact's point of view? Because he's about to do something interesting with his scout. He's going to do some non-standard scout play, which is not quite as sexy as it sounds. He's going to come forward here and find his opponent's boar and steal it. He's taken a few hits initially, as you always do, but he's going to just zigzag around and steal 340 food from his opponent. So right off the bat, M is a boar down, and he's going to have to find a way to get a little more food and get up to feudal age. And you can see really nice micro by Bact here. You know, weaving around, zigzagging around, not getting too far from the boar so that it will run away. So that's a good boar lure right there. He's got villagers here waiting, processing his second boar, and he's about to process his opponent's boar. So that's annoying. If you're M, when you see your boar is gone, you know, it's always a little bit frustrating. And that boar will go down there. Okay, so M can probably see that. Let's go back to where that boar was. You can probably see the lack of a boar here, which is always a little bit frustrating. But in Age of Empires, it's never good to get frustrated. It's always better to get even. And what he's going to do is he's going to come forward and do some non-standard scout play as well. So something you don't see very often. Scout coming forward, he scouts a lumber camp, and he sees this villager who's actually in a pocket, chopping downhill, and no one's close enough over here to help him. So M is going to go after that villager. You can see him getting a lot of hits in on that villager downhill, getting the damage bonus, not taking a terrible amount of damage on his scout. And in the end, it looks like he's just about going to pick this villager off. He gets that villager and runs away with 2 health left on his scout. So that's a pretty interesting start to this game. Not only did we see a boar steal, but we saw M come back and sort of get even by picking off a villager. He probably gets more than even. You know, really impressive to get a villager in the Dark Age against a pro player. Meanwhile, M back home is walling up. This is not terribly uncommon for him. We see him wall about half of the time that I watch him. It's a great idea because he has this gold that is protected. He has a pretty good wood line, and his berries are safe too. So he can wall up, and if he wants to, he can boom. Meanwhile, he's going to take this deer. Pretty standard play for him. However, like we said before, you can get mad in Age of Empires or you can get even, and it looks like Bact is coming forward to get even. He's going to build a forward barracks. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 villagers here. I believe there's a 5th somewhere. No, it looks like he's coming forward with 4. He's going to build that front barracks as he goes up to feudal. He is going to be walled out of most of this, but he might be able to put some towers down and get some pressure maybe before this piece gets walled up. So we can see that he's coming forward with his scout, with his 4 villagers. Scout's on very low hit points because of the boar, I suppose. And I think he took a few arrows from the town center here. As he's coming forward, it's actually going to be a pretty close call here. 2 villagers trying to finish this wall up. It looks like his scout's going to get there in time. It is. Doesn't have enough HP to really hold that area, though. So it looks like he's just going to have to back off. Meanwhile, Bact is going to put up an archery range and bring these 2 villagers forward to... What are they going to do? Let's see. Those villagers looking around, probably trying to find the right place to put a tower. They find the wall. They start attacking the wall. It looks like, yep, they will go up with a watchtower there. So, a pretty interesting beginning to this game. These guys played a best of 5, and they had a lot of forwarding going on. I think 4 out of the 5 games, someone came forward. So it's not uncommon for these 2 players to be really aggressive against each other. Or maybe they were just practicing it. But we can see here the 2 villagers are going to build another layer to this wall. And it's probably going to be up in time to stop this watchtower from doing any real damage. Meanwhile, it appears that there are 2 villagers here that seem to be sneaking out the side gate, or the side hole in the wall that they just made. So we'll keep an eye on those from Nabs as we go. We can see he's not up to feudal yet. He's on 27 population. This looks a lot like a fast castle build. The 2 snuck villagers is actually pretty surprising here. You know, I thought he was just going to wall up and wait for castle age. It looks like he may go forward with those and maybe put up a tower of his own. Meanwhile, on the front, Bact is still trying to get through these walls. He's got a couple skirmishers involved, or a skirmisher involved here, to slow down the builders of M, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. 2 builders are going to get another layer of palisade walls up here, and they're just slowly pushing in. I guess if they get him, if they break through another layer, they'll take his berries away, which is a useful thing to do. Meanwhile, those 2 stuck villagers are fighting wolves at the exact same moment, which is unfortunate if you're M. You're going to lose about half of the HP on those, but they will survive. Meanwhile, Bact has put up a mining camp. He's going to take some stone on the front of his opponent's base. Let's see, does he have enough stone for a second tower? Just about enough stone for a second tower from Bact. And he's going to send 3 villagers forward to probably put that tower over here. Meanwhile, he's got a couple of spears, a skirmisher, and a scout, just sort of prodding away and poking away at those walls. Meanwhile, M's going to put up a watchtower of his own. Not a bad idea as a last line of defense here so that he doesn't lose his berries. And we'll see a blacksmith as well. Interestingly, those villagers are in the back of Bact's base. And you can see with Fog of War that he cannot see them yet. The scout is doing a good job at using its line of sight to inform these villagers of where they can walk. And if we look at Fog of War, we can see that M is truly sneaking through this tiny little avenue right now, and it looks like he's going to go undetected as he pushes through. Let's turn off. We just saw a villager there for just a half a second, but it doesn't appear the backside because he doesn't react at all. Meanwhile, these 2 ladies are headed to the back, and we'll keep an eye on them as we go. So, what's going on the front? Bact has decided that he's going to poke and prod at a different palisade. This is starting to look pretty dangerous for M. You know, this palisade's not going to last very long. It looks like he's going to bring villagers forward to probably build another layer of wall, and we will see palisades there. 3-4 villagers involved in this wall up, which is a very smart play on his part. We'll see if he gets it up in time. Looks like he probably will. That palisade is just about to go down though. So let's fast forward just a little, keep an eye on that, and it looks like he will get that palisade up in time. So again, this is another game from M where he's basically building these layers of wall and challenging his opponent's feudal pressure to try to get through. You can see here he's actually going to stonewall as a stronger line of defense here. That makes sense because the next layer of wall would start to really push in on these miners, and that would probably be GG for him. Meanwhile, he's got an archery range up in the back of his opponent's base. He's still, I believe, undetected. I don't see... well, Bact is putting a back archery range up. Maybe he knows about this, but as far as I can tell, he's not fully reacting. Meanwhile, M's on the front here with 5 villagers, just building more and more layers of wall. You know, it's kind of a beautiful thing that he did here. His initial walls are so far out that it allows him to back up and just build more and more layers. For instance, here he could have just walled off this spot, but his villagers here would have been vulnerable to archers. He could have just walled up across here, but he wouldn't have been able to build as many layers of wall. So really a very good defensive strategy from him, not to mention sneaking 2 villagers out this side of his base. And it looks like he's starting to build a second archery range, build the third archery range, and it looks like he's going to pump out quite a few archers. It did look for a moment there that he had enough food and gold to go up to castle, but obviously he can see his opponents put some, he can see that Bact has put quite a bit of resources into this aggression, so he knows he doesn't have to rush up to castle to race with Bact. What he can do now is use the fact that Bact, his entire army is up in the front, and sneak in from behind. Come in the back door, as they say. He's still got the 2 villagers. It looks like now he's on 6 archers, and those look like they're going to go forward and harass either this gold or this wood line, and we're going to see harassment on that gold. He will pick 1 villager there, chase Bact off of his only source of gold in his base, and keep the pressure on there. Unfortunately, Bact has a couple of units, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to take out these archers. 2 villagers down now, a couple of military units down for Bact. Will he lose a 3rd villager? Not quite yet. But these skirmishers are not enough. 2 skirmishers versus 6 archers is not going to get the job done. Meanwhile, M is over here with his archers harassing this wood line. Not going to pick a villager there, but going to scare them away from working. Continuing here with the pressure, these 6 archers on the front are still intact. They're going to take another archer from Bact. They're going to keep this pressure on this whole wood line. What we can see is that now Bact's economy is entirely shut down. Meanwhile, he still hasn't broken through on the front. It looks like M is going to easily defend that aggression, and there's the GG from Bact. So I wanted to show this game because I thought it was really interesting. You know, I did a post earlier that was called Walls Do Not Always Equal Booming, and this is another case where a player walled up. They had really safe gold, they had really safe wood, and they decided not to just simply boom up and go to castle. Instead of doing that, M snuck 2 villagers forward, did a really good job at staying out of the line of sight of Bact, walking right between his town center and his lumber line. He was visible there for about half a second, but that's it. Those 2 villagers came into the back, they built 3 archery ranges, they're about to put up stables, and they won him the game. So again, another time where being defensive and letting your opponent sort of use their resources to try to break down your walls is a good thing, but you don't always have to go directly to castle. So thank you all again for tuning in, and let me know in the comments section if you have any ideas for types of videos you'd like to see or changes you'd like to see me make. And thanks again. I hope you enjoyed the video.